Alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at Litecoin, LTC, against USDT. We're going to be assessing some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. We're going to be looking for some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are you bullish on Litecoin? Have you been buying these dips accumulating during the downside? Do you think there's more upside ahead? Are we likely to get back to, the $300, $400 that we came from in the not so distant past? Or are you bearish on Litecoin? Do you believe, support has yet to be found? We have tons more downside. We're going to plow through all this potential resistance, head straight to zero, Let me know your thoughts on the direction of Litecoin down in the comment section below. Now, jumping right into it to kind of recap price action that has interacted with this $116 key level. I've interacted with it as resistance. We've interacted with it briefly as support, and then rallied all the way to that $300, $400 level just to be slapped back down to where we came from and return to this pivotal $116 level. So if we consider price action at the kind of end of last year, beginning of this year, kind of like the 19th of December all the way to the 30th of January of 2021, we have price action briefly interacting with $116 as resistance, slapping price action down, below $100 down to that $95 level, but ultimately bullish enough to find our way through that resistance to interact with an upper level near $176. Only for us to be met with resistance, and we got slapped all the way back down to the 116 again to find it as support. We had a few weeks of consolidation toward it, but ultimately bullish enough to find our way into some higher highs past previous resistance at 176 to interact with some higher highs near 244. Just to be met with resistance, and then return to the $176 level to confirm it as support. So we have several examples of Litecoin wanting to plow through resistance and then return to it to find support, and then kind of rinse and repeat. Price action above this $177 level was very bullish. It was setting these higher highs, higher low, plowing through resistance, coming back to it as support. Things were looking very bullish up until the dreaded change in momentum. Dreaded 19th of May there, sending price action plummeting down through all this potential support, failing to hold above this $177 level. We got slapped all the way into this range, tried to get above it, but ultimately confirmed it as resistance, I believe, on the 14th and 15th of June of this year, sending price action back to this $116 level. Currently, we have this very bullish bounce and price action consolidating above 116. We do have candles reaching towards that $100 level, but ultimately bouncing off of a very key level. I do believe support found above this $116 level is going to further confirm a potential bottom at this range. At the moment, I do believe we are perhaps interacting with a little bit of resistance. I do believe perhaps $150 is a psychological round level that many traders might be selling and taking profit at. So currently, I do believe we are up against some sell pressure, but at the moment, we are looking very bullish. This is a very bullish bounce after some, what I think is bullish downward consolidation toward this line as support. I do believe Litecoin has some potential, some upside in the short term here once we can solidify just how significant this resistance currently is. Lots going on for Litecoin, but if we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the FIBA, Lamborghini, lines of Illuminatis, Bugattis, Geometry, and Illuminatis again, we can see in perspective come into play. We have the 0.236 Fibonacci line at $115, correlating with my $116 level, suggesting even further significance at this key level here. Price action, if it were to have some downside, I do believe perhaps more interaction with 116 might be necessary before we can kind of confirm a prolonged kind of uptrend. At the moment, we do have the buy 4 closing just kind of a couple weeks ago on the 26th of July of this year, suggesting that there is definitely bulls in play. Some buy pressure is present, and we have been experiencing some upside and bullish consolidation since that buy 4 printing. Resistance ahead of us if we get past this psychological $150 level. $172 is going to be significant resistance as well. That is the 0.382 Fibonacci line, which is just under my $177 level. So significant resistance and sell pressure present at that range that we will have to plow through and perhaps return to as support kind of moving forward. In addition to some of the bearish factors in play is the underside of this 200 daily moving average. That is going to be a very large technical bearish indicator, and I do believe significant sell pressure will be present underneath that kind of 200 daily MA there. But there's a lot of factors in play for Litecoin at the moment. It has been very bullish through all this, crazy downside and consolidation downward. We do have some very bullish bounces off of a very key level. Currently, we are in the middle of a move at the moment, so there's definitely still a few more candles have to kind of open and close before we can further confirm the kind of short-term direction here. Price action currently interacting with some sell pressure. I ultimately think we are bullish enough to find a way above it and get some interactions with the 0.382 line. $172 I do believe is around the corner for Litecoin. But on the downside, if we do get slapped by this kind of mini psychological resistance, further interaction with $116 is my kind of bearish target. Although we're looking very bullish at the moment, I do believe some upside is headed for Litecoin. But what's going on for Litecoin against USDT? But if we switch over to Litecoin against Bitcoin, a totally new perspective comes into play here. What do we have? Price action currently in a bit of a more bearish state, in my opinion. We do have price action still being plagued by the sell for on the dreaded 19th of May there. We have price action below the 200 daily moving average against Bitcoin, suggesting some very high sell pressure. We do have resistance overhead at the 3726 Satoshi level, currently slapping price action toward the bottom of this Fibonacci range. Now, there is still room for some short-term downside here to still be bullish at this level. I do believe we are currently interacting with previous support price action that was found at these levels between kind of like the middle of March and the kind of beginning of April of this year. Was very bullish, and we were bought up very quickly, and we quickly went from this resistance at 3726 Satoshi, just a month and a bit later, we found ourselves at 6883 Satoshi, all the way up there at the top of the Fibonacci range, or nearing it. So definitely lots going on for Litecoin against Bitcoin at the moment, looking a tad more bearish, suggesting that there might be some very short-term downside or bearish price action against the volatility of Bitcoin here. When we have the EngineeringRobo's buy 4 starting to show against Bitcoin, we can get way more bullish on Litecoin. But until then, I do believe perhaps this tad bearish suggestions against the price of Bitcoin is correlating with the psychological resistance that we are interacting with on the USDT chart, suggesting perhaps further consolidation or attempts at support downward. So lots going on for Litecoin against the price of Bitcoin. We do have sell pressure present underneath that 200 daily moving average. We will have some resistance ahead of us. We got to get over that 3726 Satoshi line. I have another resistance level at 4129 Satoshi. Underside of that 200 daily is going to give us a hard time. Currently, it is correlating with the 0.786 Fibonacci line at 4284 Satoshi, and just above that is another resistance level at 4507. So there's definitely a lot of overhead resistance in our way before we can kind of make our way to the euphoric highs that we came from in the not so distant past. But I do believe that this downside was very bullish for Litecoin in the long term, and this was a great phase of accumulation that we could very well start to come out of if we can solidify this as another bottom. We do have price action finding support at this range kind of not too long ago. Returning to it will allow us to determine just how bullish we can be kind of moving forward. Now, lots going on for Litecoin against Bitcoin, currently still plagued by a sell for, but we are still interacting with support, in my opinion. So at this moment, we will still need some more daily candles opening and closing to kind of fully solidify the short-term direction of Litecoin. Now, lots going on for Litecoin against Bitcoin, but if we take a look at Bitcoin, what do we have here? Price action reaching up above this ever so critical and pivotal 0.618 Fibonacci line. We are looking very, very bullish, in my opinion. Setting a higher high relative to the swing on the kind of 30th and 31st of July of this year. Price action retraced all the way down to $37,600 per Bitcoin-ish. Now we have found ourselves above 41K again, interacting with these higher highs, still supported by a buy 4. This is looking more bullish than it has been the past couple weeks, but in my opinion, I would like to confirm support above the 0.618 Fibonacci line. This is going to be a very key level that we will have to hold moving forward before we can solidify this as a potential bottom and get very bullish on Bitcoin in the short term. Long term, Bitcoin is still very bullish in my opinion. I was suggesting price action would find its way toward the 27K line there. 0.382 Fibonacci level was my bearish target for this downside. That was looking more and more possible with the more resistance we were finding at these key levels. The 0.5 line, my support line at 32K. But I was slapped right out of my pants for being even a little bit bearish on Bitcoin, and we, as soon as we reached that 29K level, we shot all the way up, got back above 32, back above 34, and here we are above 40. So definitely a very bullish recovery. We have definitely recovered through all of this multi-month downside. All this bullish price action is definitely going to be met with these retracements and these pullbacks and these attempts at support. So be very careful when buying Bitcoin during these kind of next few days. I do expect some very volatile price action, both upward and downward. I do believe we are finally coming out of this sideways. Price action above this 0.618 line is very, very, very bullish in my opinion, but I'm going to need to solidify that as support. I'm going to need some daily candles opening and closing fully above that 0.618 line and hold it to confirm this as a potential bottom. Still have plenty of resistance overhead. The underside of this 200 daily moving average is right above us. That is definitely going to give us a hard time moving forward, and we will likely have to break it and come down to it as support. We have resistance at 48K. The 0.786 line at $51,700 per Bitcoin is going to give us a hard time, I'm sure. We also have resistance at $57,000 per Bitcoin, and then we have all-time highs near 64K. So definitely is a lot of room for some upside here for Bitcoin, and we're looking very bullish, and we are definitely in a better place than we were in the last kind of couple months here. But in my opinion, sadly, technically, we are still sideways. I want to confirm this as support. I want to see more support found. I want to solidify this as a bottom, no matter how bullish this looks. I need more confirmations to be sure. We got that buy for closing a couple weeks ago on the 24th of July. Price action been very bullish ever since. I held the buy for all through this retracement down to 38K. Price action now above the 0.618. I suspect perhaps a retest of it. I know some price action down, confirming it as support will be my bullish indicator of a potential bottom at this level. Now, what's going on for Bitcoin against USDT? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know in the comment section. Are you bullish? Are you bearish on Bitcoin? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Have you been accumulating throughout all these lows? Have you been buying the dips? Suspecting so much upside ahead, and we're going to plow through current all-time highs, get to that 6 figures, or are you bearish on Bitcoin? Have you been shorting all of these swing highs? I think we're going to plow through all this overhead resistance. Is this just like a fake out, a bull trap? Do we have tons more downside ahead? Are we heading straight to zero? Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action moving forward. It's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin, only better times. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.